Misandry is defined as prejudice or hatred towards men. Today I'm talking about it.
A lot of creators have come out against her. Basically, they're saying that the way that Drew calls out men is
Conscious Lee's argument against my critique of Drew seems to be that since Drew is a reactionary content creator reacting to an immoral act, her method is uncritiquable and permissible. However, if we look at this principle he and she are arguing for, you could see that if applied in other circumstances, they would reject it. What I mean is, let's take an analogy. Let's take Drew and a police officer. See, at their best, they're both aiming to right or wrong in the world, see an evil, and address it. Sure, there are problems with the criminal justice system, but like I said, at their best, this is what they both do. So, by Conscious Lee and Drew's principle, you wouldn't be able to critique a cop's reaction to a crime. This would be horrible. You absolutely can critique someone's reaction to an immoral act, and this doesn't mean you care more about the reaction than the immoral act. Drew, just like any cop behaving immorally, must be checked for how they respond to immoral behavior.
Number one, never have I said that anybody is above critique. We call that straw man argumentation when you respond to points that were never made. Number two, my original point about Drew's content being reactionary is about a cause and effect relationship, meaning that if you do not like the effect of something, you deal with the cause. Kind of like a questions of sequencing, or how some would put it simplified as a root cause analysis, right? Number three, what this professor has also committed is what we call a false equivalence. A woman of color on TikTok calling out misogyny with a few million followers is not comparable in power to a law enforcement that has institutional power, legal power, and influence. Correlation, not causation, bad argument. Number four, we're talking about power here, sir. So what this means is that we can recognize that both misogyny and misandry are bad. When it comes to power, we recognize that one of these has institutional power that's backed by more than just customs and values, but actual power and domination. And the other one is merely filled with feelings. I have feelings. My feelings matter. I recognize that other men's feelings matter. I'm not saying that. That's also a lot of other people that was tagging me. Straw man argumentation. Number five, we're going live, ain't we? A lot of you men's activist misandry dudes come off as just talking about reverse sexism and how people have resentment after domination and institutions come at them, and you feel like you should not have to be accountable for the institution or the power systems that kind of elevate you. I got a better equivalency for you out. See, what I just described was a lot of the same things that white people do in terms of power when we talk about race. Number six, state this very clearly and catch the nuance. In acknowledging that both misogyny and misandry are bad, we can recognize they're not at an even level playing field, and we recognize that they are not the reverse of one another. We see that they are cause and effect to each other. Number seven, another reason why I think a lot of men's rights activists are just downright facetious is because of things like this. Everything he said in this video seemed like he trying to project it onto me. He made this with his whole chest out. Not only do I support men's rights, I fully support men's wrongs. You're going to tell me this satire, though, right? So when Drew's laughing, it don't mean nothing, though, right? This is the ethical conundrum dude thought he had me in right here. What does it mean to say you support men's rights, but you fully support men's wrongs? Perhaps that's why he has more to say about Drew feelings hurting dudes' feelings on the internet than, reproductive rights of women and people with ovaries, you feel me, being attacked. Number eight. How you against the domination of men, but you ain't got no critiques of capitalism. You ain't got no critiques of militarism. These the people that's really exploiting our bodies, exploiting our emotions. Come on, man. Number nine, imagine saying you a men's right activist, but I don't see nothing in there you talking about gun violence. I don't see nothing in there you talking about, homelessness. Number 10, man, before I show this video out, in conclusion, I would describe a lot of y'all men's right misandry dudes, as what I seen on Little Rascals, man. A bunch of he-man woman haters. But I know y'all gonna be purposely obtuse with me, so I'm gonna give y'all another example of what I mean.
This is your daily friendly reminder that the root cause of misandry is misogyny. There has never been a time in United States history where women have held religious, political, economic, marital, or military power over men to be an initial cause for misogyny. And I'm sure you heard a woman say this before, but just in case you were waiting to hear it from a man to acknowledge it as truth, misandry, and I say that word using quotation marks, is a reaction to misogyny. It is the resentment and resistance to the mistreatment and dehumanization that women face in a male-dominated society. Does that excuse individual acts of cruelty and abuse just because it's a woman doing it to a man? No. But does that mean that we as men can assume the role of victim as if the society that does do us harm was designed by women? Also no. And just because you're a black man who experiences racism does not give you license to be sexist or homophobic or aloof to how these social forces work. Society creates misandrists through misogyny, but society creates misogynists through patriarchy.
With that being said, let's address my original point. I can't stand when people have more energy for how people respond to misogyny than the actual misogynists themselves. I can't stand when people have more energy for trying to critique how people respond to sexism than the actual sexism itself. That was my original criticism, not this straw man argumentation that says that she cannot be critiqued for misandry, she can't be critiqued for body discrimination. Education is elevation.